What is up, Packers fans, and welcome back to the Daily Draft. I am your host and the publisher of Pack Report, Ross Uglem. We are brought to you, as always, by Brewski Light Lager, brought to you by Badger State Brewing in beautiful Green Bay, Wisconsin. They have a bunch of cool stuff that we will talk about later. But right now, we're going to break down James Pearce Jr., edge rusher out of Tennessee, pros. One pro is that he's the love of my life. James Pearce Jr. is probably my favorite prospect in this year's draft. When I started with the evaluations for Cheesehead TV, I had edge rushers and eventually wide receivers. But I had edge rushers, so I've been watching pass rushers with an eye on scouting for a long time, and he's my kind of pass rusher, man. And I get that I differ from the Packers in that way. Get that. I will be more ready for the Brian Burns types. I will be more ready for the Harold Landry types. I'll be more ready for the Chop Robinson types than the Packers are. I get that. But James Pearce Jr., man, I loved it from the second I turned on the tape. And like I said, he's not my number one overall player in this class, but he might be my favorite football player in this class. Hyper productive, super productive on the pass rush front. 55 quarterback pressures in 2024, 52 pressures in 2023. He had 21 sacks. The way the PFF counts sacks, so no half sacks, all sacks are whole sacks. That is how I would count sacks, but 21 sacks in the last two seasons to go on with those 107 QB pressures. We love to affect the quarterback. That's very big time. Staunch run defender, really good run defender for a player of his size. We'll get into size. Well, I'll just tell you now, it's 6'5", 245, which is, maybe a little concerning. But that's on kind of the cons side, obviously. So for a 245-pound guy, I think he defends the run really well, moves extremely well for a person of his size. And by the way, he did not go up at all. I know a lot of you think I'm a big underwear Olympics guy, and I get that. His rank did not improve for me after he blew up the combine. I loved his film that darn much. A 4.47 second 40-yard dash with a 1.56 10-yard split. Those would be good for a wide receiver, much less a guy with 55 quarterback pressures. Converts that speed into power. He has knockback ability. Again, I'm basing this on a player that's only 245 pounds. So I am extremely impressed with basically everything this kid does. Has the ability to bend around the corner. He has got great flexibility for a man of his height. Not that many guys that tall can move that way. Does have an inside counter move. I like the inside counter move when that corner turn doesn't work. The inside spin, it's kind of salty. I like it. He uses it to great effect. I think he's still going to try and turn the corner, bend the edge, get sacks that way. But if he doesn't, he's not cooked. It's not done. The rep isn't necessarily over. One last thing in the pros. He's a younger prospect with some track ahead of him. He will not turn 22 until later in this NFL season, I believe sometime in October, but he is a young prospect. Guys, buy the Green Bay Draft Guide powered by Packer Report. It's the number one way. As much as I would love you to be a Packer Report VIP, and I think we really provide some good value there, buying the draft guide is the biggest thing that you can do to keep us going. That thing is the number one way to keep us rocking and rolling over at Packer Report, especially during draft season. Use promo code DAILY for $1 off. Cons, there are character red flags. I'm almost basically just going to stop there. I don't know anything. Okay. I haven't talked to a coach. I haven't talked to a scout. I haven't talked to anybody at Tennessee. I've just read stuff. Okay. Here's a couple of things. Worst character report of anyone in this draft class. One guy said there's a report out there that he could be available as late as round 3. Okay. I don't know that. Okay. I got nothing for you there. I don't know if it's BS. I don't know if it's true. I don't know anything. So I'm not going to act like I know anything. It's the same thing I said when the Packers signed Brandon McManus. I don't know anything, so I'm not going to act like he did something inappropriate, and I'm not going to act like he didn't, because I don't know anything, and I don't know anything about what's going on with James Pearce off the field. I'm going to say that there are concerns because there are, and I'm going to leave it at that. He's thin. Okay, there's another con. 245 isn't much for a guy who is 6'5". We don't have agility numbers yet, which would serve to prove out kind of this film flexibility, but I'm not listing that as a major con. We're talking about a top 10 prospect for me, by the way. So the cons list might not be super serious or super terrible. But yeah, you'd like agility numbers. With any pass rusher, I would like to see agility numbers. They're super important. At 245, the run defending that I'm so impressed with on film might take a little bit of a hit. I think he might need to put on some size and strength at the NFL level to hold up on the edge, but it makes him a Packers fit potentially, as they kind of want him to go up the field and get there quickly. In theory, though they haven't drafted that way. Hand placement could be more consistent if we're talking about pass rush. And finally, yeah, never mind. I already said that one report says that he could be available as late as round 3. Guys, Badger State Brewing is going to be the place to be April 22nd through the 27th. Go check them out. Food trucks, an old-fashioned statement, which is, an old-fashioned station, which I think is really cool because they're a brewery. They don't make that liquor. So for them to continue to sort of just like hold up Wisconsin culture and have an old-fashioned station there is really, really cool. Food trucks, their beer, I think other people's beer. It's just going to be really, really cool over at Badger State Brewing. Real good shot. You're going to see me there at some point. Go check out Badger State Brewing April 22nd through the 27th as the draft descends upon Titletown. Packers fit. They could really, really use a guy like him. They could. Even if LVN works out, they could still use a guy like James Pearce Jr. He is tall enough. We're talking about fits, tiering, whatever. He's tall enough, but he's not thick enough, and he doesn't have particularly long arms. So those would be things to, kind of little, not red flags, but little yellow flags as far as him being a Packer, right? And adjustments that they would kind of have to make on their end to be comfortable with taking him. But character concerns kick him down the board, right? Green Bay's, like in my experience or my thought process, they're what they want on a guy starts to loosen from a threshold standpoint, right? Their prototype gets to be looser and looser as you move down the board. Okay. He would definitely diversify their rush plan and skill set. They got a lot of hammers. They don't have a lot of artists. Okay. They don't have a lot of bendy guys. They don't have a lot of speed guys. And Egbari is a technician. Rashawn Gary wants to run through your face. Brenton Cox wants to run through your face. Lucas Van Ness wants to run through your face. That's what their pass rush group is right now. And James Pearce Jr. could bring a lot of diversifying, diversity, change of skill set, whatever you want to say. He would make them different in the way that they attack, not just everybody trying to run through somebody's face. I would take him, but I don't know enough about the off-field stuff or the character issues, and I'm not going to pretend to know. Overall, he's got a top 10 grade. This is based on film. James Pearce Jr. is my number 8 player overall. You have to understand, and I'm just going to say this clearly, this is basically a football-only grade, okay? There's a huge chance that non-football stuff tanks or he's taken. My grade, my rank of him as 8 overall, and my grade of him as a top 10 player has nothing to do with a prediction of where he's going to go. I don't know. It only takes one team to believe. But if it's as bad as some people say it is, 32 teams could pass for a while. So that's my take on James Pearce Jr. Thank you so much for watching or listening if you're on the podcast side. Drink brewski, buy the draft guide. Have a great day. Go Pack Go.